Hello everyone, it's Vicki here today designing for Bramble Fox, and I'm using some new store items that have come into the store recently. I've got family perspective, some tiny people and a stencil which I think is number 31. But either way I'll link it below so you'll have a link directly to that. And I recently got the Cocoa Vanilla No Limits collection, so I thought I would use that with the photos that I have there of my husband and my dog. So they're the boys in my family, so I'm going to scrap them. So I'm going to choose some of the papers from the 6x8 paper pack. I'm not sure it is completely 6x8 because I tried to cut some 2-inch squares and well, you'll see they're not, they don't actually come out full size. I get two 2x2s from a strip, and then the third one is slightly short. But anyway, that doesn't matter. What you need to know is that I'm cutting 2x2 squares. So I'm going to cut them from these 3 papers that I chose. I think about cutting something from this paper, but I don't. So that's why that was out. And yeah, I'm just going to use my trimmer here and cut away. Had a little think. I thought I might do them a bit bigger for a while there, but I decided on 2x2. So I'm going to skip through that in a moment because you don't need to see me cutting lots and lots of squares. But I cut from all 5 of the papers that I chose. And you see those small ones are just slightly too small, but that's fine. I had enough for what I wanted to do. I don't actually ultimately use the yellow ones, and I'll take those out in a moment, but I'm just having a play with them here on what I want to do. So I'm just arranging them around the page, just sort of thinking about what I might do and trying to spread the colours out. And there you go, that's sort of what I've got in my head at the moment. Yeah, and I take out the yellow here. You see that I just don't like the yellow with it. I don't know why. It doesn't look so bad on this filming, but I didn't like it at the time. So I'm still playing with those squares, just to sort of try and figure out where I'm ultimately going to put them. Please excuse my voice, by the way. It's a bit croaky. I've had a cold, so I'm just recovering from that. So I sound a bit croaky. Apologies if I'm hard to understand. Okay, so I'm going to put my perspective there on top of the photos, and I do move that around a bit later, but that is ultimately where it goes. Okay, so I'm going to distress the edge of each of these squares, and that just adds some texture to the layout. My layout actually comes out quite grungy, so it's a boy's layout, I thought that was appropriate. And then I stick them all down with a little bit of double-sided tape right in the middle because I'm going to do a bit of sewing as well. And off camera in a second, I am going to sew around the blue ones and the turquoise ones. Sort of greeny turquoise, I guess. There we go, and then just ruffle up those edges a little bit more for those colours. And on the close-ups you'll be able to see the sewing there, but it's just a square around the, as I said, the black ones and the blue ones there. Okay, so I left a gap down the middle. I thought about putting some each side of it, but actually I quite like it being a plain gap there, and it will help my embellishments stick out a bit more. So this is where I'm going to use my stencil. I'm going to use it to draw some stars in my grey fine line pen onto the white. Now let me just find my pen and tell you what it is. It's a Unipin fine line, water and fade proof. Yeah, I got it on Amazon. It's really nice. It's a very pale grey colour, and it kind of almost looks like pencil, but I like how it looks when you use it through a stencil. And you can't see that very clearly here on the filming, I don't think, but it is quite clear in real life. So now I've got some white acrylic paint, and I'm going to do lots of splatters. I said this was going to have a grungy look, so lots of white splatters on here. I'm just going to do splashes like that normally with the brush, and then I'm going to do some big blobs. And I do that by loading up the brush and then just holding it up high and squeezing. And that sort of takes out, lands a lot of the liquid onto the page. So I'm just going to soak up a bit of the excess liquid because I don't want that to flood over the page when I'm rolling my kitchen towel. and there we go, roll my kitchen towel, and that takes up a lot of the excess there, but still leaves a grungy feel behind. And so I'm going to do some coloured splatters as well. I'm going to use these Japanese watercolours that I have, and I'm just going to add some water to them and splatter all over the page. And I'm using like a turquoisey blue, and then I'm going to use a black as well. The good thing about watercolours is you can just splatter right onto them. You don't have to take it out onto a pot and add the water that way. You can just spray onto them, and that will dry out on its own. Okay, so I've got my splatters, and again I'm going to roll my kitchen towel over it just to pick up the excess. I don't want it to be really bright, I just want some sort of, you know, little splatters on there. Okay, so it's time to start thinking about sticking my photos down. And I'm going to start by putting some tissue paper on the back, just to add a bit of separation between the two, because they're going to sit on top of each other slightly. So just stick them down to the tissue paper, cut around it, and just ruffle up the edges of the tissue. Cut a bit extra off there. I made it cut around it a bit too large, so just take a bit of the excess off. There we go, I like how that looks. And now I'm going to put some sticky back foam on there, which will give it some dimension off of the page. There's a lot of texture and dimension in those squares, so I want the photos to pop out because they're the main focus of this layout. Okay, so I'm using sticky back tape and glue. The sticky back tape grabs straight away, and then the glue will dry over time. Not very long, but that will give it an extra grab there. Sometimes I find some double-sided tape doesn't hold long term with photos, so I think that helps. Okay, so I've got these chipboard stickers, and I want to do the boys, but they didn't have the word the boys, so I just stole the letters from other words. And I probably won't use those other words, so I'm fine to do that. And I might be able to make another word out of them later anyway. So I'm just going to try and figure out where to put that. And I decide on there, above the photo. That little tab says Born to be Awesome. And then we've got an arrow there as well. And I think about doing something with this square frame, but then I decide I've got enough squares. I don't really need any more, so I don't end up using that. Okay. There we go. So I've got the these little pieces. They're like buttons, and they've got stars on, all three of them. And I like the orange from this collection, so I wanted to pick out the orange in a few things. And so I pick out some orange stars from these puffy stickers as well. Are they puffy or enamel? I don't know, but I think they're puffy. So I'm just going to stick some of those on, just as a pop of colour around the black pieces. And I've got this embellishment pack here, and I'm having a look to see what I might use. This little ticket says Championship Admit 1, and I just thought that was quite cute. My husband likes football, so why not? It's very, very manly, I think. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in there. And that says To the Moon and Back, and I just like it there. It doesn't really mean anything to my photo, but I think it looks quite nice. So I'm going to stick down my perspective, and that's just going to go straight onto my photo there. There's no point in me trying to prop that half on the photo and half on the page, because it's just, there's too much space between with the foam on the back of the photo. And then that Born to be Awesome slides in just slightly underneath, which works quite well. These are the little people. They're called Tiny People. Again, I'll link them up, but they're so cute. There are boys and girls in there, and yeah, I really like them. So I'm just taking off the plastic protective covering, and then I'm going to stick them down onto the page. So just in 3 different places. They're going to go on there. They're lovely little filler embellishments, and yeah, I think they're really cute. So I'm going to stick down the title, which you don't have to watch all of, but I always find that the stickiness on chipboard is never strong enough for long term, so I always use glue. on those as well. Okay, here I want to add another star, so I just pull out this one which matches the paper colour that I've used, and I'm just going to pop that on there. I'm just trying to figure out where to put it at the moment, and I'm going to put it there. I don't want to cover up those little stars that I drew from the stencil, so that works well. And then a little tab there at the top of the photo which adds in a bit more of the orange. I like that, love that colour. And then just some little white word stickers, phrase stickers. The bottom one I put on says just another day, and then I tuck one onto the photo which says hello. And that is it, the final layout. There it is. I hope it gives you some inspiration for using your perspectives and especially stencils. It's fun to use stencils in different ways. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will link up everything I use below so that you can find it in store. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been Vicki for Bramble Fox. Until next time, bye bye.